Hi everyone, it's Angelina, Sparkling Diva. I'm going to post this on my Facebook page. In the future I'm going to do these things live, but right now I'm not in the mood of finding out how that works on my phone. I have done it before, but not all that often, and I just can't be bothered right now. I just want to record, and so I'm just going to do that and stick it on my Facebook page for you to watch. But keep an eye on my page, because that means that there will be more of these recordings in the future, live or not. And right now I want to I'll tell you a little bit about dealing with difficult situations where you feel scared to do something, or having difficulties making a decision or whatever. And yeah, well, I think that happens quite a lot to many people, that especially when you are not really in a place of uh, self-love, or have self-esteem issues, or don't feel all that confident in a particular moment or in a situation. And then it can really help to ask yourself this question: what would love do? And that really helped so much. I got that from a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle, and I should have gotten that card. I'm going to get it. I'm going to show you. Hang about. Yeah, I got it. It's this card, Mending. It's probably reversed because it's on the phone. Mending. I love that. It's a beautiful card. But it basically speaks of that when we are dealing with a difficult situation that we find, difficult, and that scares us a little bit, we tend to close our hearts. And then it's even more difficult to deal with the situation, because, well, if your heart is open, you have your intuition, you have love, you flow, right? And then it's far easier, even though that might be scary, to be vulnerable with your heart open. But then you can ask yourself, if you feel your heart is closed, you can ask yourself this question: what would love do in this situation? What would love do? And I do that a lot. I do that very often. Ask myself that question in specific situations, and then I feel, yeah, it just shifts your energy. It really shifts your energy, and it is so helpful. It doesn't only shift your energy, it also changes your mindset. You see things differently when your heart is open, and when you try to deal with a situation or solve a situation from love. What would love do? It's just like, wow, that's, even when you deal with a difficult person, or when an angry person or whatever, you will see them differently if you ask yourself that question: what would love do now? You know. So that is one thing that you can do in a difficult situation. Another thing you can do is ask yourself the question: what would I advise my child to do in this situation? Because then your ego isn't involved in it anymore. And that's what you want. You want the ego out of the equation, because the ego is usually doesn't put us on the right track. It usually just blocks us, and so we want that out of the way. And asking yourself the question, what would love do, does the same thing. It gets your ego out of the way. And asking yourself the question, what would I advise my child to do in this situation, does the same thing. Gets your ego out of the way. And then you have a much clearer view of what the best thing is that you can do in that situation. Also, if you know that you are a bit of a perfectionist, that you always want to do it right, you always want to please people, and you want to do it all, and oh God, and then you can ask the question: what would I advise my friend in this situation? Because when you are a perfectionist, and many of us are, perfectionism is actually a sign, an indicator of having low self-esteem, not loving yourself enough, not validating yourself enough. Then we get this perfectionism, because that makes us feel as if we're good enough, as if we're worthy, because we do everything perfect, which is bullshit, of course. And by being a perfectionist, you have too high expectations of yourself. You demand so much of yourself, far more than you would demand of anyone else. So in that sense, it's really just healthy, good, to put things in another perspective, to ask yourself, what would I advise my best friend? Or even your child, if you have children, what would I advise them in this situation? And I'm certain that in most situations, if not all, the advice that you would give them is completely different from what you would expect of yourself. So that gives you more insight and then follow the advice that you would give that friend or your child. Do that. And then if you keep doing that, you have to keep working on that. You have to keep asking yourself these questions because it's a process. Change is a process. It's not something you do. It takes time. It's a process. So you have to keep asking yourself these questions regularly, and then it will begin to shift. Then it will begin to become your new normal, and that's what you want. That is really what you want. Also, the ego will get in the way quite a lot. It starts yapping in the back of your mind, yapping. And the ego is such an annoying thing in a way. It just basically controls much of what we do all day long, every day, and it's usually not for the best. Often it just blocks us, stops us from doing the things that we actually would really, really want to do. It scares us. The ego is usually scared. It's hurt by Lord knows what else, whatever in during life, in your childhood, and it's just scared. It's just this scared little heel. Let me sit in the corner in my comfort zone. It's safe and nice, and I don't want to do this, that, and the other because. And so it's often, if you have a problem with change and going out and about and doing things, going out of your comfort zone basically, which is where all the juicy parts of life are, everything that's good is outside of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is just nice, peaceful. It's nice to come home to, of course, to have a stable home and to have that comfort zone. But you have to get out of it regularly, because everything that's fun in life, that's good in life, that actually helps you to shine and grow and just live and feel happy happens outside of that comfort zone. But your ego rather keeps you in that comfort zone. And the ego is basically an ancient survival mechanism. And so it did have a function, did have a purpose. But nowadays it usually just it inhibits us from doing what we really would love to do. That's such a shame. And there's one thing that you can do, and that works really well too. If you find that you are in such a situation where you really want to do something, but that ego, that scared little piece inside of you is yapping, is trying to stop you from doing it, it's trying to hold you back, then you can visualize that ego as a little girl, or a little boy if you're a man, or whatever, if you're more comfortable with that. But you can also visualize it as a cute monster, a cute one, right? Not a scary one. We don't want that. A cute one. I usually go for something like the Cookie Monster, something like that. It's a monster, but yeah, it doesn't scare me at all. It doesn't scare me at all. But it's cute. It makes it like now. It makes me laugh, right? That kind of monster, something that is still in a way cute. And then you can visualize it like that, and then see it yapping. Don't do that. And resisting that change, or maybe it's afraid or whatever. It doesn't really matter. And then you just tell it that, okay, I see you. It's fine. You can be here, but I run the show, not you. I'm in control. I run the show, and I can handle this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna sort it out. Right, and it's fine if you walk along with me, you can do that, but I run the show. I control my life, not you. And if it keeps yapping, you know what I do sometimes is, and that really, really works well. I just tell it to sit down on the floor or in a corner even, if it's really annoying me. And then I give it something to play with. Just visualize that, right? Just visualize it, giving it something to play with, and shove a cookie in its gob so it shuts up. And it sounds really stupid if I'm now telling you this, but it works. It really works. So, you know, these things that I've now told you to deal with difficult situations, and there's a bit of perfectionism dealing with that was in here as well, dealing with the ego that's trying to hold you back. Just try it, really, just try it, and well, let me know how it works out for you. It works well for me, I can tell you that. I've been doing this for a few years now, and it really does work. And yeah, this monster thing, I love it. I have to really laugh about it. But it works. It really, really does work. Just visualize it just next to me on the floor, shove a cookie in its cup. Oh God, it works, okay? Even though I'm laughing my head off now, it does work. So have fun with it. That is also important. Don't be too serious about all this stuff, because that doesn't help. That only makes it worse. You have to try and be a bit more light-hearted about all these things. And that's why these visualizations can work really well, because you can make that fun. You can make it, yeah, whatever way you like it to be. Any way it works for you. Just have fun with it. Play with it. That's healthy too, let your inner child play with all that stuff. It will help you too, make you feel better, more in control, more in power of your own life, Since I've began doing all these things, and of course I'm doing a lot more. I've been busy with this stuff for years on end. I actually feel far more in control of my life. It's like as if I'm now back at the helm. And I can now steer where I want to go. And I'm actually going places now as well, as opposed to just bobbing around and, yeah, whatever. And, maybe I'm going to get to the shore, or maybe I'm going to get to that shore. Maybe I'm never going to get to a shore. Maybe I'm going to be blown back from whence I came by the wind. And that's basically what I have been doing for years on end. Just bobbing, just bobbing. I was doing things, but it wasn't really going anywhere because I wasn't at the helm. And yeah, I'm off now in a completely other direction, so I'm gonna end it here. Just have fun with it, with what I said. These things like what would love do? What would I advise my child? What would I advise my friend? And then do that. Follow those advices, not what you demand of yourself. And I'll do this thing with the ego if it's yapping. Visualize it as a little girl or a little boy and tell it what I just did, right? Or a monster, cute little monster, right? Have fun with it, enjoy it, be light-hearted about it, and I'll be back soon with another video with some things, tips, whatever I feel like sharing at that moment. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.